Just make sure my switches are set in the right position. The throttle is free and clear. Lights are on. X-ray Tango radio check.
There's a strong sense of excitement for this flight. Shortly before takeoff, with the engines whining and a cockpit cooling system blowing at its max, Clements exits the cockpit. He then closes the canopy via a remote switch. Powered up and ready for flight, the F-16 begins to roll down the runway without a pilot in the cockpit. In a matter of seconds, the aircraft, with its burner lit, roars into the southern sky headed out over the Gulf of Mexico. It's the first time ever an F-16 has flown without a pilot in the cockpit. Meet Boeing's newest full-scale aerial target, the QF-16, a modified F-16 that will allow pilots the chance to train against and fire upon the most realistic enemy aircraft threats ever created.
It was a little different to see it without anybody in it, but it was a great flight all the way around. A replication of current real-world situations and aircraft platforms that they can shoot as a target. Now we have a 9G capable, highly sustainable aerial target.
While there's no pilot physically sitting in the cockpit, 2 U.S. Air Force test pilots are flying the plane remotely from a ground control station at Tyndall Air Force Base.
Today, no pilot in the cockpit. It gets you a little more on your toes, on edge, but the flight itself went very well. It went as advertised. The jet performed well and did what it was supposed to do.
While in the air, the unmanned QF-16 reaches an altitude of 40,000 feet, a speed of Mach 1.47, and engages in aerial maneuvers such as a barrel roll while pulling more than 7 Gs. F-16 and F-4 chase planes off the port side follow the QF-16 as it makes its final approach back to Tyndall and picture-perfect landing.
Got the jet in the air, flew great, everything worked great, made a beautiful landing, probably one of the best landings I've ever seen, and stopped right on the center line. So no, it was a great mission.
So far, Boeing has modified 6 QF-16s, all of which had been stored at Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Arizona. In fact, the plane used in the first unmanned flight had been out of service for 15 years, modifying the F-16s to fly remotely.
Guys,
good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. So we'd like to introduce ourselves. My name is Abyhafsy from absent 21.
My name is Mohamad Nazwary, absent 22.
My name is Mohamad Rafly, absent 23.
My name is Naila, absent 24.
My name is Najwa, absent 25.
So, has everyone watched the video?
Yeah, I did.
So to put it simply, the video itself, it's a documentary of the Davis-Monthan Airport Base newest modified F-16, which is the QF-16. The video shows how the jet was set up, how the jet works, and its purpose. In this video, there is some testimonies from the Air Force itself at Davis-Monthan Airport Base.
So I took some notes of what the jet is itself. It uses a semi-auto flight mechanic. The jet model is called the QF-16 and the jet type is F-16. Its production is done by Boeing. The general purpose of it is to act as a real target and ready for simulation. During the testing, its destination was to Mexico Gulf in northern Mexico.
And also, I would like to add that it's the first time that an F-16 flies without a pilot in the cockpit. The canopy can be closed via a remote switch. The jet needs to be set up and checked manually in the cockpit before it can actually fly by itself. The QF-16 is the newest Boeing full-scale real target, and the QF-16 is actually a modified regular F-16, which its purpose is to simulate an enemy aircraft so that the QF-16 can be shot fired on and in general act as an enemy in training.
Anybody else want to add anything from the video before I add mine?
So actually, I watched the video and also took some notes. So actually, the QF-16 is a highly sustainable aerial target that does not require a pilot in the cockpit. And the QF-16 can remotely controlled by an operator on the ground. So this actually makes the QF-16 is not an autopilot, but it's a semi-autopilot. So in the video, the QF-16 reached 40,000 feet in the height of 40,000 feet and a speed of Mach 1.47 and engage aerial maneuvers such as a barrel roll. And while the flight itself pulling more than 7 Gs. So in the video, actually the QF-16 is actually landed perfectly without a pilot in the cockpit. And so far, there is only 6 QF-16 which is stored in Davis Mountain Air Force Base in Arizona.
I don't have much left, except an air soldier says that is an exciting experience because there is no pilot involved. The QF-16 operator, ground control operator, says that the flight was a bit on edge, but flight it is itself when as advertised. But I think the real question here is it actually worth it?
I think that it is, because even though we are able to simulate chasing or losing the enemy, I think that there is no possible way we can actually simulate eliminating the enemy without someone getting shot down or having to play the victim.
Yet again, it is pretty expensive, or at least more expensive than the original F-16. And as you say, it's getting shut down. So if you were to use this, you would be using a lot of expenses, and I think we are able to simulate shutting down an enemy in different ways, such as a virtual machine.
But yeah, actually, a virtual machine is not the same as actual flying aircraft.
Yes, exactly. So again, I think that it's going to depend whether or not we are willing to make those types of expenses, or willing to pay the prices, just train shooting the enemy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely agree. But I think there is something worth investing in this technology.
Why? That
What if we're able to fight the fight without actually being in the fight? What I mean is, if we're able to control the QF-16 from the ground and we can fly it very well, what if we could control it from a very long distance and have more control over the jet? So that, let's say during a war, we can send our aircraft to fight. Yet, there is no pilot on the aircraft, just people controlling it from the ground.
oh, so we eliminate the risk of actually losing our pilots.
All right.
So does anyone want to add anything to this discussion before we end it?
Well, I think it's
No,
enough for
I
our
think that's
discussion
it.
today.
All right. So that's the end of our discussion. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.